In today's video, I'm going to show you how to make your own crankbait out of wood. I'm going to show you how to shape it, cut it, put the hardware on it, paint it, and put the epoxy on it, and it's ready to fish. So stick with me and I'll show you how to do it. It's just a fun hobby to have. To know that you can build your own bait and catch fish on it is something that I've always wanted to do. In the past, I've made baits out of plastic with the molds and everything, but this is on a whole nother level. This is actually taking something from wood and then creating your own bait from scratch. So this whole thing right here, this is something I made. I've got shallow divers, deep divers, like anything you could think of, top water, jerk bait. I mean, this giant jerk bait right here. Anything you could think of, you can make, and it's just a really fun hobby to have. I've loved it ever since I started doing it. It was kind of frustrating at sometimes, but it makes you want to do it. Keep on doing it to get better and better at it. So it's kind of addicting actually. So I've got scraps of wood all over the garage and just baits everywhere because I've made so many. It becomes an addiction. So it's but it's definitely something to do. Definitely in the wintertime when the fishing kind of calms down a little bit and the fish aren't really biting because it's so cold. This is a fun hobby to have in the wintertime, to make a bunch of baits so you can fish in the summer and springtime. So I'm going to show you guys, from the beginning steps of, drawing out your, what kind of model you want to carve. So I'm actually going to show you how to carve it too. So a lot of people use machines to cut their own baits, like CNC machines and duplicators and all that stuff. You don't have to get crazy with that stuff. You don't have to get super expensive. All you really need, I started out with a knife, a drill, and some sandpaper. That's all you really need. But I mean, you can get more complicated. Like I now have a belt sander, a saw, and a drill, like a drill press. So it makes things a lot easier and you can build baits faster. But I started out, and I even started out using spray paint instead of, I got an airbrush now. So it's definitely been a fun process. But I started slow and then I worked my way up. So I've learned a lot from a lot of different builders too. There's some Facebook pages out there I follow that a lot of people gave me a lot of good pointers and stuff like that. So yeah, it's just been a really fun process. You can make it as expensive as you want or as cheap as you want. So it's really up to you. Okay, so I got my shape. This is what I'm going to be cutting out. This is a 3/8 piece of balsa. So I'll show you how you do it on the bandsaw. So you get something like that, but yeah, as you can tell, there's some spots I missed. I like to get it on the sanding belt, and I'll clean that all up. So that's basically what it looks like for now. But I'll follow these lines and make sure I get all the extra pieces that I'll sand off, like right there and stuff, and then we can get it ready for carving and hardware. So, alright. Alright, so I'm going to use this side of the for sanding, and then I'll use the top part to be like, do like that. So. Alright, there you have it right there. So now I like to drill my hardware holes. Like right here is going to be for my ballast, and then I got to do the hanger in the back and then the front hanger. So I like to do that before I start. I'm just going to show you how I carve it after I do that. Alright, today I'm going to show you with the hand drill how I do it. For some of you that don't have a drill press, you can use a hand drill, but you take it from me. You gotta be extremely careful because you do not want that going through your hand. So I've been doing this a while, so I kind of know what I'm doing. But so I'm gonna find. I already cut the lip. I should have showed you that part, but I cut that lip on the bandsaw as well. So I'm gonna get it right there. I'm gonna measure it and get it right dead center below the lip. So measure that and put the point right there. And then you're gonna get, like, you can't really see, but you don't even have to be very fast because it's this wood's pretty delicate. So goes in there very easily. And then you got your hole right there. And I'm going with a shallow diving lip. So it's gonna look something like this. Like, this lip is not permanent right now. I'm just sitting in there so you can see kind of what it's gonna look like. So it's gonna look something like that. But it's gonna be shaped a little bit better. I'm gonna carve the sides and round it out a little bit. And I'm also actually gonna show you how I get the drill the bottom weight. So I don't know what size this one is. Hold on. It is a 1/4 drill bit. So what I'll do is I'll take it over here to my vise. Right there. And I'll put it down in there, tighten it down. I've already marked where I'm going to drill it. Like I said, this is one way you can do it if you don't have a drill press. Just got to be very careful because you don't want to go. It's better to take your time and kind of a little bit more. Like I said, I've done this so many times that. Okay. So you get the hole right there like that, and then I'll get the weight. See, I use this, keep all my weights and it's all my belly weights, some of the the tie-ins for the screw ties and some hooks and stuff like that. But I'll take a 3 gram weight. I usually use 3 grams with a balsa bait because it is a lot lighter, and so that seems like the best weight that I found. But like, I use different woods, so it all just depends on what wood you're using, because there's poplar, and that's kind of a heavier and stronger wood. Sorry, I'm having camera difficulties here. Okay, so when it comes to carving it, I like to use this blade right here. This is kind of like a hooked, as you can see, blade. It's made for carving, so it's made by Milwaukee. But I like to start out on the edges and just get a little bit off. Like, I'm freehanding this. I'm going to show you. You can measure the sides and stuff like that, but I'm just going to show you. I'm going to freehand this whole thing like they used to do back in the day. So then you want to get down here on the bottom. And then kind of on the sides. So I'm just eyeballing this right now. Like I said, some woods are harder to carve more than others. Like, I probably took out too much there, but you can always fix it with sandpaper. Like, you can always sand it down and kind of fix it. But as you can see, it's kind of getting that, it's going to get that round shape after you carve the edges and kind of take away the edges, as you can see. You could probably just take any piece of wood and make a crankbait out of it if you really wanted to. But you know, most people use balsa wood because it's very buoyant. So my favorite part is actually painting the bait, because you're getting towards the end of the process. So be careful with a knife, because you don't want to cut your hands, your fingers. I don't know about you guys, it's humid out here tonight. I live in Maryland, so it still gets humid here. Okay, let's get in there. As you can tell, I don't know if I'm getting this all on camera, but you can kind of see how it's being rounded off. But anyone can do this. It might seem kind of daunting at first, like making your own bait. Oh my gosh, that seems like it'd be, something really hard to do. But like I said, I started out with just a knife, a saw, some sandpaper, and just kind of went slowly. And I'm telling you, you're not gonna be able to make something perfect right off the bat. It just takes time, practice. But the more you do it, the better you get at it. So you're definitely gonna have, I had a lot of baits I threw away because they just weren't, they either didn't swim right, or the bill angle wasn't correct, or just a bunch of different factors. So but you can just practice your craft, and you'll eventually get better at it. So alright, so this is kind of what I got right now. I'm going to sand down the sides and see where we're at, and see if I need to carve it a little bit more. And I also have to drill that back part for the back hanger, hook hanger. So okay, now I'm going to take this 130 grit sandpaper. I think it's 130. Yeah. I don't have the actual sheet with me. Yeah, but it's pretty tacky, so I will take it and just kind of sand down the sides. You will get a lot of sawdust in your garage when you start making your own bait. I suggest getting a shop vac. Makes it a lot easier for cleanup, but oh yeah, this is already looking good. It's crazy. It might look like it's like nothing when you're carving it and you're like, I don't know if this is gonna turn out well, but I promise you, like a piece of sandpaper goes a long way, and that can fix some mistakes. Like some of these, like one of these parts I carved on here was a little too deep. One of the edges I carved was too deep, so I'm gonna have to sand it. Sand it down some, but and don't let anyone tell you that you're doing it wrong, because there's so many ways to make a bait, and there's no right way. So, and it's all fun, so just have fun with it. Some people take it too seriously. I mean, there are some people that actually have a legitimate business making bait, so they are the big guys in this business that have the machines, the CNC machines and the duplicators, so they can make, produce mass quantities of these things. I'm not saying that they're not, great baits, but it's just kind of takes the craft out of it if you're not, like, hand carving a bait is actually hand carving a bait. So I'm going to tell you right now that probably 95% of my baits are all hand carved. So probably 100%, to be honest. I've never really, I had a buddy that had a duplicator, but I didn't. I used it one time, but I think it's more fun because you're basically taking a piece of wood and building, your own bait. So, all right, this is what I got so far. See how it's more round now? Look at that. I just gotta clean up the bottom part, but that's what I've got so far. And then later on, I'll take this sandpaper, which is, I think 80 grams, 400 grams. Yeah, I'm terrible at this, but I'll get the sandpaper right so you know. But this will give it a smoother surface, so you'll be ready to paint at the end. But yeah, so this is just a really fun hobby to have. I suggest all fishermen, at least try once to make your own bait. It's just more satisfying when you're fishing out there and you catch a fish on your own bait. Like, who can say they did that? So, but yeah, man, I mean, you could be meticulous with this sanding. Like, you could be here for hours sanding, trying to get exactly the shape you want. So, but I would suggest starting out, I would get balsa wood because it's a lot easier to shape. Poplar is kind of, it is a stronger wood, so it's hard. It'll take takes me longer to shape that type of wood. But yeah, I'll get back to you once I'm finished sanding this, and then we'll take it to the next step. Okay, now, so I finished the sanding. Pretty round. You gotta get that little piece right there, but that looks pretty sweet. That's perfect. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take, a lot of people take epoxy, and because I'm putting the belly weight in, but I actually use, a lot of the time I use Gorilla Glue, And so I'll put it down in there. I've never had any issues with the Gorilla Glue. So I'll fill it up some. Then I'll take these a belly weight. This is 3 grams. And I'll push it down in there. Most of the time, see how it comes out some of the holes. That just tells me right there that it's getting filled within the bait, so it's only going to make it stronger. But now it sits down in there. It usually takes, I let it dry for about for 45 minutes. Okay, the belly weight is now dry within the bait, so it's secure. It's not going anywhere. I also did another one a couple days ago, and I'm going to finish that one as well. This one actually has a line tie already. It's a brass line tie in the nose. You can do it that way, or you can do it like this, the one we're working on. This one actually, the line tie will go through the bill where you want to place it, and go through the bill, and then to the spot we drilled. So, and then, so you'll have to glue the nose. I always glue the line tie in the nose. If I do it that way, I'll do it before I put the coating on it. So next, what I do, I take a one of these skewers. You can buy these at the store in like 100-pack, super cheap. So I like to stick them on there, hold them for when I'm painting, and then also when they're drying, when they get their initial coat. But I'll show you what I do. So I'll stick it in the back of the crankbait, not too far, but nice and snug, and then there you'll have it. It'll before it gets its coating. So I'll do it for that one, and then I'll do it for this one. And then I will take, so I use this Ultimate Tight Bond 3 wood glue. Essentially, like I said, it makes it waterproof. I do 3 separate coatings. So I dip it, let it dry, dip it again, let it dry, dip it again, let it dry. So 3 times, and it gives it a smooth surface too, so it's ready to paint. So I put it in, if I can find it, here we go. Since it's a lot in that big tub of it, so I got a smaller jar, like you can get jelly or something, or a mason jar or something like that. Something with a top, so you can keep it from drying out, but this will make it easier to dip. So the next step in the process would be dipping it, laying it dry, doing it 3 times, and then you'll get a nice coat, even coat, and it'll be waterproof, and it'll be also ready to paint. So stay tuned. All right, so I've already dipped that one. I'm gonna dip this one. So you're gonna dip it in there, get it all around the bait, nice coating. Then you're gonna let it drip back into your container. I also suggest buying one of these styrofoam blocks. You can get them from Michael's. I'm sure you can find them at other craft stores, but I use it to stick in there to let it dry, and it drips down. And also when I'm painting, I'll stick it in there so I can it can also dry. So let it all drip down. Okay, once it's pretty much dripped all the way, I stick it down in here, and now it's gonna dry. It probably takes good, I don't know, hour, maybe a little bit longer, and it will have a nice smooth surface. It will dry clear, so don't worry about it having that milky look to it, because it'll dry clear. But after 3 coats, it'll be smooth. Even after 2 coats, it's pretty smooth. But I usually do about 3 coats, and it's pretty much good to go and ready to be painted. I'm trying to think of anything else. So yeah, the styrofoam block. I mean, you could build even your own drying rack. You could get really crazy, but I've kept it simple this whole time and just done the styrofoam. It's just easier, and then like if you want to move it, it's easy to move. Like you don't have to have something stationary. But so yeah, those will dry, and then after it's coated 3 times, we'll be able to put the primer on, and then we'll be able to paint. So another way to seal your bait, that's the word I was looking for. So when you're sealing your bait, it's becoming waterproof and no water gets in. You won't get water damage and on your wood. So this is a super fast way to do it too. I used to do this all the time, but you're gonna really need a lot of good ventilation, because you don't want this stuff. I would suggest wearing a respirator mask, because this stuff is just not good to breathe in. So I usually have some gloves on, and this is super thin super glue. So this is just another way you can seal your baits. You'd squirt a little, or put some on your bait, and then use your glove hand and just rub it in with your finger. And I usually do 2 to 3 coats, and it actually makes the bait stronger too. But I mean, you can just feel the difference once it's soaked in. But yeah, this is just another technique you can use. This is how I started, and every once in a while I'll do it just to do it. I mean, this will take longer to dry, but this requires a little bit more sanding. So when it's done drying, you got to kind of sand each layer. You'll still get a smooth finish as long as you're sanding it down, but it requires more work. This basically you just dip in, let it dry, and it's eventually good to go. So this is just another technique, and some guys even do epoxy for their sealing it. You can do that. A lot of guys do that with when it comes to doing foil baits. So just some other ways you can do it. Okay guys, it's the next day. I've let the baits dry. I got 3 coats on them, so they're ready to be painted. So if you can see it's got a nice shiny finish, and yeah, it's ready to go. So this is the Tight Bond 3 Ultimate. So it took about hour and a half to dry, maybe 2 hours each coat. So yeah, so let's see if we can get some painted up for you. Okay, so when you're painting, you're gonna want a respirator just like this. I highly suggest in a ventilated area if you don't have a painting booth, which I don't have. I use a fan and then the mask. I don't paint a ton of baits at once, so I don't see it being a problem, because a lot of the guys that have the painting booths, like, they do it for business. So it's just something that I just don't think I'm doing like maybe 10 baits tops at a time painting. So but yeah, this is my paintbrush. It's a master airbrush. So it's on the cheaper side, but it's a good airbrush to start out with. I've never had any issues with it at all, and I've done some really good work with it. So it's easy to use and easy to put together. It comes with the pump down here. You can get actually a kit on Amazon. So yeah, it comes with the kit. The kit comes with the pump, the airbrush, and then some other accessories with the airbrush, like tips, and actually it came with 3 different airbrushes, but this is the one I use the most. So there's just some accessories you're gonna want. This is like a I forget what they call it, some kind of pot, but you put it in here, it holds your paintbrush, and then when you want to clear it out, you can go in there and you can empty it later on. But yeah, so this is a great starting out airbrush. I think it's very affordable too. It's only, I want to say it was under $100, so you can always upgrade later as you get better and progress, which I want to upgrade soon. I want to get a nicer one. But yeah, so I'm gonna paint these with a base coat, a white base coat. I like this Golden brand because it's easy. You don't have to mix any kind of paint thinner or anything like that. Any kind of thinner to it's like the perfect consistency. I never have any issues with it in the airbrush. Like, it doesn't clog it. It doesn't. It's not too thick and it's not too thin. So it's basically ready to go once you put it into the airbrush. So I'm gonna put some in there. I'll shake it up first. Put it in there. Not too much. You don't want to waste any, but you can always put more in there. So I'm gonna get my mask on and I'll get started painting. There's your first bait. I'll let that dry and I'll do this one too. Just, you know. There we go. Another one. Let it dry and then I'll paint the rest, or paint the pattern on it. Sorry, this mask is killing me right now, it's so hot. But yeah, I'll let them dry and then we'll be ready to paint a pattern on there. Also, when you're changing out your colors, the most important thing you want to do is keep your airbrush clean. I don't know how many times I've forgotten after I've painted, when I was letting it dry, I forgot to clean out the airbrush, and when the paint dries in there, it becomes a really big pain in the butt to try to get it cleaned really well. So you really want to make sure you clean it right after you're done, especially if you're changing colors, because I've had to take it apart and clean it a couple times because I've forgotten. But here's some airbrush cleaner. You can pick this up on all the stuff I bought was off Amazon. So this is just media airbrush cleaner. You just pour it in there and kind of run it through the airbrush. You want to make sure there's no paint left in it, so especially when you're changing the colors. Like, it's not so bad if you use a white because it won't affect the color too bad, but like when you're using a darker color like a black or something, it's really going to mess with your colors. So I highly suggest cleaning your airbrush really well, because it could really get clogged up. Go with the yellow. There we go. Yellow and a little bit of chartreuse. That's not much yellow anymore, but the next one. I decided to do a frog pattern. I don't know if you can see that, but it's got like the spots on it. So we'll see how it turns out. I need to get a couple more on there, but looks pretty sweet. A good way to dry your baits off quick if you want to move to the next color, using a hair dryer. Shouldn't take much. It'll just help you speed up the process in painting. So it's just something I like to do. All right, now I'm going to move to the next color. I'm going to use this sepia, which is like good for shading and stuff like that. So I am going to do, hold on, I'll grab my, these are pretty cool patterns. This is going to be like some kind of like toxic frog or something, but you can buy these, find these online too. I forget what brand it was, but it's a cool stencil to use. I had a little bronze too. It's pretty sweet. All right. Now you got something like that. Pretty cool. Gotta finish off the top of the head, make it a little more green, but yeah. Alright. Let's see, Rio. Using the stencil again on the other side. That turned out pretty sweet. So I'll blend in the top more with some green, but that's what we got so far. Kind of like a leopard frog. Okay, I'm gonna do a little bit of crazy green. So this is a they have the craziest names. Some of these I can't even pronounce. It's just a blue shade green. All right, put some of that in there. Kind of like a darker green, like a hunter green. And then there's some of this stuff you can mix in. It's like liquid acrylic. You can do some crazy stuff with this. It's not meant for airbrush, but I like to mix it and get the right consistency. And you can get some crazy outcomes out of some of these. You just do a couple drops. And then I'll mix it together until I get color one. Sometimes, so it can get a little too watered down. So sometimes you gotta add a little bit more this other paint to get it the right thickness. So, alright, let's see if I can get this on camera. Come on, focus. There we go. I'm not even gonna see that green much, but it's kind of like a, I don't know what, like a yellow green kind of. Alright, let's see if we can. Sometimes you gotta be. There we go. Might have to add a little bit more. I'm gonna add some chartreuse in there, just because it's a little too watered down. So, there we go. Mix it around. Yeah, that's the color I want right there. You see that? Kind of like a toxic green. All right, let's see if it'll come out like white. Yeah, you gotta play with some because sometimes you gotta clean off the needle. Man, if I can get that to come out like that, it's gonna be nice. There we go. Sometimes you gotta kind of play with it a little bit. See, I'm like pressing it down. Since it's a little bit watered down, you have to. I mean, that's kind of what I'm trying to get is the spots anyways, but man, this looks good. Alright. Well, This is what it came out to look like so far. It's pretty nice. Alright, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to finish off this frog with a scale pattern on the top, like a gold scale pattern, just to give it some pop. So I got this netting. You can buy this netting online, or you can buy it at craft shops. Any kind of netting, really, whatever you decide to use. And then you put it over the top like that. And then what you want to do is get some like gator clips, they call them. Something like this. Something like that to clamp it down. I'll show you what it looks like. I don't know, maybe I'll go with a smaller scale pattern. Just so, I don't know. Don't want it to be too big. Oh, also, you want to make sure your bait is completely dry, because I've learned the hard way many times, not being patient, that if it's not dry, it will pretty much ruin your pattern that you have already. And then also, when you're done doing your scales, you want to make sure you dry it with the hair dryer. But this is what it basically looks like. See how it's covered completely on both sides. And now I'm going to just do it's like a translucent gold, so I'll show you what it looks like. I don't know if I want copper or gold. I'll do copper seems like it'd be a little too much. We'll do gold. But this right here, our iridescent gold, that's what it is. Poke this top of it because paint dry on top of it. Just take like a poke or something. Oh, go in there. Let me get my rest over here. Make sure you always clear your airbrush, because you never know what color's coming out of the thing, so. Maybe a little bit more. Alright, here we go. Alright. Now you get airbrush. And here you have it. I mean, that just completely makes it pop. You can kind of see it. See that? Look at that. On the top. Oh yeah. It just gives it a nice finishing touch. Okay, dotting the eyes on the crankbaits is like one of my favorite things to do. I think I'm pretty good at it, so it's probably right. But what you want to do is get a drill bit. You can use a drill bit. You can use anything with a circular top to it. See, you can tell I've been using this one. But what I'll do is get some acrylic paint. This is the brand I use. This works perfect every time. I swear this is the best one. This is just going to be the yellow eyes. So I'm going to try to do the best. I've never done frog eyes, so thought I'd do something different. But you just want to dab a little on the end of it. Make sure it covers the whole thing, and just be very. You want to have a steady hand. So you get an even circle on both sides. Go back and dab a little bit more. Okay, that is going to be the first step. There's going to be think I might just do 3 dots. Usually I do 2, but this is what you're looking at right now, something like that. So, pretty awesome. All right, I'll put it back in the styrofoam. This part, you gotta let it dry. I mean, I don't remember how long it usually takes, but you gotta let it dry completely before you do the next layer, because you don't want it to like smear or anything like that. So, all right, we're almost there. I know this is gonna be a long video, but all right, we're gonna finish the eyes. I dotted them. So I started out doing yellow, then I was like, oh, I want to do black and gold, so it kind of actually turned out pretty cool. But let's see if I can see. It's got like 3 layers right now. I just got to finish the last one. So I just need some black. I've never done it like this before, so I'm hoping it turns out pretty good. Just need a little bit of black acrylic. I think it's acrylic, yeah. It's all the same brand, Craft Smart. That's the best kind I've found. And then we're gonna do an eye like kind of like that. It's actually like this one. Something like that. Let's see. Let's see how I do. Oh man. It's pretty good, I guess. Ribbit, ribbit. Not bad. Cool. All right, let this dry, and then we're gonna put the hardware on it. So we're gonna put the bill and the hook hangers and everything. Get it ready to go on and put some epoxy on it. So, all right, guys, I'm back. So we've dotted the eyes. Now we're on to putting some of the hardware in. So I'm going to take it off this guy right here. What you want to do is you want to be very careful because you want it to break, and the tip sometimes could break inside. The crankbait becomes a pain to try to get out, or usually you have to drill it out, but so just kind of like work your way and it should come out just like that. And you're left with something that looks like a hole. Yeah, okay. So that's what you get. And so now we're using, like I told, this is my favorite epoxy, or the best one I've found that works for me is the DevCon 2-part epoxy. I think there's like it has about, I can get like maybe 8 baits in coating them. It dries pretty quickly, but it's very strong, and I've had basically no issues with this epoxy. So what you want to do is, I've already drilled a hole on my bill where it's like, I lined it up, so I put it inside my bait like this. Kind of lined it up with the, I measured like the center of the bill, and make sure you get it center, because if it's off, sometimes just a little bit, it will be it just won't run right. But so you line up, and it's gonna be lined up with that hole in the bottom for the this is for the oh my gosh, I always forget some of the names of these things. Anyways, a brass line tie. That's what these are. Brass line ties. You can buy them off of Amazon. I can't remember the size of this one exactly, but you can play around, find out which one you like, or you can make your own out of some wire, which I can show you in another video. I'll do. But what I like to do is get the line tie in the hole. This one's nice and snug, which is perfect. And then I like kind of bend it like so. Which bends straight back, but most of the time you need to make sure you get a good bend on it. So I like to hold the tip of the line tie. It's basically a cotter pin. That's what these are. Kind of bend it forward. There you go. Then you're going to stick it through the hole that you drilled. And then you're going to kind of push it down in there, and it's going to look like this. Hopefully this is all showing up on camera, but see how it shows like that? So it's going to be lined up just like that. And then now, this is what it's going to look like. This is kind of just a dry run because I'm not putting epoxy on yet. Which I gotta do quickly because I've already put it down. But I like to do this and match it up. Make sure it fits well in there, because I do not want to put the epoxy on it and then have it look funny or just not the way you want it to look. And then once the epoxy's on there, it's going to be very hard to get it off, and it's not going to be fun. So this is the most important part, is matching up the bill so it's equal on both sides. It looks about right. So then it will look something like this. See how it goes right into the bottom of the crankbait like that, because the hole you drilled. So now you're just going to take it off. And I've already mixed. See, it's starting to dry already. And I like to put it on the line tie, and then the bottom and top of the bill. Okay. And then you're going to match it up, put it in there like so. You're gonna have a little excess come out the hole, so I like just get it with my hands and then wipe it off with a towel or something. But this, make sure you line it up right again like you want it, because this is the most important part. You want it to be lined up right, angled right, because this is gonna either make or break the bait that you make, because it's not always gonna run true right out of you making one, but you can always tune it by moving the line tie, to either the left or the right, to make sure you get this side did not turn out as good as I wanted. I did a little, kind of smeared a little bit, as you can see. But this side was a lot more clean. But the fish doesn't pay attention to those things. But I'm a perfectionist, so that really kind of annoyed me. But it's all good. Okay, so that's in there, and then I'm gonna get the other line tie for the back hook hanger. Oh, not line tie, but hook hanger. Get a good bit on there. And then you're going to stick it in the hole. See, I went too far. We got a big thunderstorm outside. That's why you hear the rumbles. But this is basically what it looks like when it's got the line ties in it. You see the back one and then the front one. Now we just need to let it dry. It dries pretty quickly. So it should be pretty quick, but yeah, there you can see the back and the front. So the next phase, oh man, this is gonna be a super long video. Anyways, the next step is like the finishing step for the bait. You're gonna put your epoxy coat over the whole bait, and then we're gonna put it on the drying wheel and it's going to turn. Okay, we have come to the final step in the process. Well, one of the final steps. As you can see right here, this is my turning wheel. It's pretty small because, like I said, I don't put out a lot of baits at once. So this one can turn 6. I have another wheel too that I can use. So I can probably do like 20 baits at once if I really wanted to. But this one's super easy. I didn't have to make it. I actually bought this on Amazon. It is actually a cup turner for like people that make the tumblers. But I actually just kind of made it into something I could use. So let me zoom out a little bit. So this is just some clamps that I got, and then I screwed them into this piece, which comes with the wheel itself. So this is actually what you put the cup on, but I just screwed them onto there and made a wheel for crankbait secure. So, and it comes with a little switch. So when you have it on, you just flip this switch right here, and I can run that. I mean, it plugs directly into the wall. So, and so once you get the epoxy on, you put it on the clamp, and it's good to go. So I'm gonna wait till it turns back right there. All right. So I know this video is super long, but I wanted to be kind of detailed on it because there's really nothing out there. Because it's kind of taboo for people to show exactly how to make their crankbaits, because you know some people do this for a living. So it's, like I said, it's taboo. People don't like to show all this stuff, but I don't really have any secrets. So I'm going to put the epoxy in I got a plastic cup. I like to put it in the plastic cup. It's easier to mix and stuff like that. And then I have a paintbrush, kind of a wider one because it's easier to put on your bait. And I'm going to put a little bit of glitter, gold glitter in there to kind of give it a little bit more, the finishing touch, I would say. Yeah. So, you can also sign your baits too if you want, but do I have my pen over here? I do. Alright, so I got these permanent pins I bought that you can sign your name on the bottom of your bait so everyone knows it's one that you made. There you go. It doesn't take very long to dry, so I've done this so much that I already know it's like 2 parts. So you usually have to weigh this, but I've done this so much that I know exactly basically this right amount for each. So I'm not doing that. I'm only doing 1 bait, so I don't really need that much. So okay, tops back on them. Like I said, this stuff works. You have to work pretty fast. You probably got about 8 to 10 minutes before it starts to dry. So mix it really good. I already put the glitter in there. Oh yeah, another thing. You're gonna want, I find it better to have this trick I use, the hair dryer. It'll get all the air bubbles out because you are gonna get some air bubbles in the epoxy. So, all right, I think that's mixed pretty well. All right. So you want to make sure your bait has nothing on it. And then we're going to start to apply the epoxy. Hopefully that's... I just want to make sure I got it really good on camera. Just nice equal coatings. And I'm telling you, right when you start putting this stuff on, it just... the pattern just comes to life. It's pretty amazing, especially when you're, like I said, you're making your own stuff, and then you get to see what the final product is gonna look like. It's pretty awesome. Be careful with putting it around. You don't put too much, so it doesn't drip all over the bill. If you want it to be like a really clean finish, because if you put too much on it, sometimes it will cover the bill. But I usually do 2 coatings of this, depending on how evenly it dries. You might even have to do 3, but I mean 2 is usually good enough for me. So just make sure you cover the whole thing. You might have to hold it up to the light to see if you've gotten the whole bait. But this bait, man, this is just really turning. I'm lucky it turned out really good on camera. I'm kind of disappointed with that side, but that side turned like awesome. Alright, I think I got it pretty good. I don't really see many bubbles. There you go. Let's get a little bit of glitter in there. Now put it on there. And the wheel of magic begins. There we go. And like I said, I put it on there for 24 hours, let it spin for 24 hours, and then I keep it on there. I'll let it sit on there for another 24 just to make sure it's dry. Also, like when you play with different epoxies, temperature plays a big role, and also humidity. So I've never done, this is our first summer in this house, so I don't know, like sometimes the epoxy will bubble up depending on those 2 factors, the temperature and the humidity. So you really just got to play with it. I've never had any issues with this epoxy, but in the past I've had other epoxies kind of bubble up some with the heat. So you just gotta, like I said, you gotta find the one you like and just, I guess, stick with what you like. So what works best. I know this video is super long. I'm gonna try to edit the best I can to make it. I would love it under an hour. I know that's still a long video, but like you can always skip ahead to different parts to see which parts you're not sure about on how making, and then go from there. But I really hope you guys enjoyed this. I'll do one more part to this with the finished product, and then maybe in the future I'll show some video of me actually fishing with it. But yeah, that's basically how to build a crankbait 101 right there. I basically showed you everything that I do to make a crankbait. So if you have any questions or comments or anything like that, put them in the comments, and give me some feedback too. I know you guys will probably say you make some shorter videos, but this one's probably going to be the only one of its kind being this long. So I really hope you guys enjoyed this, but I'll have one more video with the final product. But I hope you guys enjoyed.